before I go into that, let me start by laying a foundation. Let's lay a foundation, okay? Let me start by talking about what IELTS is all about, and then we're going to look at IELTS listening. So what is IELTS basically? IELTS basically is an exam that is designed to assess your ability to communicate in English, okay? IELTS is designed to assess your ability to understand English, your
Now
ability
listen
to communicate
carefully
in English,
and answer
your ability
questions
to
1
read
to
and
4.
understand English, your ability to write in good English.
Good morning.
Okay,
You're
and
through to the
communicate your
Tourist
thoughts
Information
in written
Office.
form.
Tim speaking.
Okay,
How
we
can
want
I
to
help
assess your
you?
ability to
Oh,
hear
hello.
what people are
Could you give
saying
me
in
some
English.
information
So
about
basically, we
next
want to
month's
assess your
festival,
ability
please?
to
My family and I will be staying in the
communicate in
town that
English.
week.
Of course.
So there are
Well,
four
it
things that will
starts
be
with a
tested.
concert on the
Okay,
afternoon
the
of the
first one is
17th.
called
Oh,
IELTS
I heard
Listening.
about that.
IELTS
The
Listening.
orchestra and singers come from the
That is
USA,
the
don't
first thing
they?
that will be
They're
tested.
from
IELTS
Canada.
Listening.
They're
Then
very
after that,
popular
we
over
have
there.
IELTS Reading.
They're going to perform a number of well-known pieces that will
Okay.
appeal to
After
children
IELTS
as
Reading,
well
we
as
have
adults.
IELTS
That sounds good.
Writing.
My whole family are
And then the
interested
last
in
one is
music.
IELTS
The
Speaking.
next day, the 18th,
Okay, so these
there's
are
a
the four
performance by a
aspects of
ballet
IELTS.
company
These are the
called
four things that will be
Eustatis.
what?
Sorry?
Four things that will
The
be
name
tested.
is spelt
Now, on the exam day, usually you
E-U-S-T-A-T-I-S.
will do
They appeared in
listening,
last year's
reading,
festival
and
and went
writing
down very
first.
well.
Or
Again,
let's say
their
you will
program
do
is designed
listening,
for all
reading, and
ages.
writing
Good.
together.
I expect we'll go to
So
that.
they will give you the question
I
paper
hope
for
there's
those
going
of
to
you who are
be a
taking
play
paper-based
during the
IELTS.
festival.
They will give
A
you the question
comedy,
paper for
ideally.
listening.
You're in
You will
luck.
do listening, and then
On the
after that, they
19th
will
and
collect the answer
20th,
sheet from
a
you.
local
Give you the
amateur
question
group
paper and answer
are
sheet for
performing
reading.
one written by
You
a
solve
member
that
of the
one,
group.
and then after that, they
It's
will collect the
called
question paper from you,
Jemima.
and then they will give you the
That'll
question
be
paper
on in
and
the
answer
town
sheet
hall.
for
They've
writing,
already
and then
performed
you
it
answer
2 or
that.
3 times.
Okay?
I haven't seen
And
it
then you
myself,
will not do
but
the
the review
speaking
in the local paper was very good.
afterwards.
And is it
For those who
suitable
are
for
doing
children?
computer-based,
Yes. In
on the
fact, it's
computer,
aimed
the
more at
first thing
children
that
than
you
at
will
adults.
solve is going
So
to be
both
IELTS listening.
performances are
That's
in
how
the
the
afternoon.
computer-based test is
And
structured.
what about
You will
dance?
solve IELTS
Will there
listening
be any
first,
performances?
and after solving
Yes,
IELTS
also on the
listening,
20th,
the
but
computer
in
will
the
take you to
evening.
IELTS reading.
A professional
And then
company
after
is
that, the
putting on
computer
a
will take you
show
to
of
IELTS
modern pieces
writing.
with
That's how it
electronic
is.
music by
Okay?
young
So
composers.
listening basically
The show is about
will
how
run
people
for about
communicate,
what's it called?
or
30
fail
minutes.
to communicate
We
with each
will
other.
exceed 30 minutes.
So
It might
it's
even
got
be
the rather
25 minutes.
strange name,
Depends on the
chat.
audio.
I suppose
So
that's
these
because
four
that's something we
aspects,
do
let
both
me
face
finish
to
this one.
face
These
and
four
online.
aspects will be
That's
tested and
right.
will be used to determine your score. Now, your score at the end of the day
Before you hear the rest of
can
the
be
conversation, you have some time to look at
what's it called
questions
now? Look at
5
it.
to
Let me give
10.
you an idea. So look at this one. Let's assume that somebody takes this test now, and the person gets maybe 7.5 in IELTS listening. Okay, the person gets maybe 8.0 in IELTS reading. The person gets 7.0 in IELTS writing, and then in IELTS speaking, the person gets 7.0. This person's overall score, they are going to just find the average. They will calculate the average of this thing, and then they will give the person overall score maybe 7.5.
Now listen and
Okay?
answer
Let's
questions
look at another
5 to
scenario.
10.
Another person takes this test. Okay? And then the person
Now,
gets
there are
maybe
also
IELTS
some
listening.
workshops and other activities.
Person gets
They'll
maybe
all take place
6.5.
at least once every day.
IELTS
So
reading.
everyone who wants to take part will have a chance.
The
Good.
person gets, let's say,
We're
maybe
particularly
7.0.
interested in cookery.
Okay? IELTS
You don't happen to have a
writing.
cookery workshop,
The
do
person
you?
gets
We
maybe
certainly do.
7.0.
It's going to focus
Then
on
IELTS
how
speaking.
to make food part of a healthy lifestyle. And it'll show that
The person
even
gets
sweet
maybe, let's say,
things
maybe
like cakes
6.0.
can contain much less
This person's
sugar
overall score is
than they
going to be what?
usually do.
That might be worth going to.
This person's overall score is
We're
going to be
trying
what?
to
It's going to be
encourage our children
6.5.
to
They will
cook.
find the average.
Another workshop is
and use
just
the
for
average.
children,
So listening
and that's
accounts for
on
25%
creating
of your
posters
score.
to
Reading
reflect
accounts
the
for 25%
history of the
your score.
town.
Speaking accounts
The
for
aim
25% of your score.
is to make
And then
children
writing
aware of
accounts
how
for
both the
25% of your
town
score. So
and
all
people's
these four
lives have
aspects are what?
changed over the
They are
centuries.
equally
The results will be
important.
exhibited in the community
All the four
centre.
aspects are what?
Then
Equally
the other
important.
workshop is in toy making,
Okay?
and
But
that's for
this is
adults
what
only.
you need to
Why is that?
understand.
Because it involves
In
carpentry.
terms of difficulty, all the four aspects are not equally difficult. Okay? In terms of difficulty, to me personally, reading is the most difficult. Okay? Writing is the most voluminous. That's what I would say about writing. I won't say writing is difficult. I would just say that writing is what? Is voluminous, especially if you are taking IELTS academic. Writing is very, very voluminous. Okay? And then for me, speaking is the easiest. Speaking is like the easiest. Is the easiest. Is the easiest. The only reason why somebody will probably fail speaking, maybe when I say fail speaking, maybe you get a score of 6.5 or less than that. Okay? The only thing that can make somebody who is a Nigerian or a Ghanaian, okay? Let's assume that you went to school, you went to secondary school and they taught you in English. You went to what's it called? University and they taught you in English. Huh? The only thing that can make you to get a score of 7.0, I mean, a score of 6.5 or lower than that in IELTS speaking is your vocabulary. If your vocabulary is very, 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 very poor, extremely poor. You get it? So is that kind of thing is not common. But then you still need to what? You still need to prepare well for it. We're going to do speaking some other time. Today is not for speaking. But to me, speaking is actually the easiest. And then listening is, let's say relatively easier than what? Than writing or reading. Relatively easier than writing or reading. Okay? So these are the 4 aspects of what? Of high IELTS. And we're going to be going through all the 4 aspects during the course of this training. Okay? I'm saying that for the sake of those who are just joining us for the first time. Now, we will look at IELTS listening today. Today's class is going to be focused on what? IELTS listening. That's what I'm going to be dealing with today. So what is IELTS listening all about? IELTS listening basically is the part of IELTS that is designed to assess your ability to hear what people are saying in English, okay? And to what? And to answer questions based on what you are hearing. So what happens during IELTS listening? You will hear some audio recordings and you will answer questions based on what you are hearing. So there is a section 1. IELTS listening is divided into 4 sections. There is section 1, section 2, section 3, and section 4. Section 1 has its own audio recording. And as you listen to that audio recording for section 1, you will answer some questions from 1 to 10. You'll answer questions 1 to 10. Section 2 has its own audio recording. And as you listen to that audio recording for section 2, you will answer some questions from questions 1 to 10. Same thing with section 3. Section 3 has its own audio recording. And as you listen to section 3, what do? You will answer some questions. And then section 4 too has some audio recordings. And as you listen, you will do what? You will answer some questions. Hope you get the gist. So we have a total of how many questions? You have a total of 40 questions to deal with. We have a total of what? We have a total of 40 questions to deal with. All right? Now, we have different question types. Let me show you the different question types. So here we have a textbook or a past question series. This series is called Cambridge IELTS Tests. So that series is a very popular series. If you want to have the PDF version of this, I can send it to you, but really you don't need it. But if you want, I can send it to you. Okay? But me, I'm saying now that you don't need it because I'm going to share a website with you where you can easily practice. Okay? If you are taking computer-based, you don't need to be practicing with PDF files. It's a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. Okay? But I'm saying this for the sake of people who are doing paper-based IELTS. So this is Cambridge IELTS series. You can see here we have questions part 1, 1 to 10. These questions here, we call them gap filling questions. Okay? So that is the first question type that you're going to come across when it comes to IELTS listening. Gap filling questions or sentence completion question. Okay? Gap filling question or sentence completion. They will say complete the table below, or they will say complete the notes below. Like you can see here, you can see they wrote here, they wrote it here. Complete the notes below. So this is one of the question types, gap filling questions in IELTS listening. The other one is called multiple choice questions. That's what you have here. Multiple choice questions. You'll have a question and then you have some options. A, B, C. So my job is to listen to what the speaker says and answer these questions. Pick the appropriate words, pick the appropriate options. Appropriate option. Just pick one option based on what the speaker says. So we call this one word multiple choice questions. Some people call it OBJ, but the more appropriate word is what? Multiple choice questions. Then we have what we call map labeling questions. This is a map here. So the idea is that what the speaker that will talk in the audio recording will describe this map. And as the speaker is describing the map, what am I to do? My job is to label the map. So we call it what? Map labeling question. That's another question type. Then we have what you call matching questions. This is matching questions here. These are matching questions here. So my job is to what? Is to match the topics inside this box to these novels by Charles Dickens. So my job is to match items in the box to items in the list. That's what we call what? Matching questions. So what are the question types? Gap filling, multiple choice, matching questions, and what? Map labeling questions. Those are the 4 question types that you will see in what? In IELTS listening. I hope you're getting my point now. So like I said earlier on, part 1 will have its audio recording, and as you are listening to the audio recording, you will be answering the questions. So what I want us to do is to what? Is to look at how to solve, I want to show you how to solve what? How to solve questions in what? In IELTS listening. How do we solve questions? How do we do it? Okay, so I want you to follow closely. So here we have an example of map labeling questions. Now, before I come, let me just show you something here. I'll come back to this later on. Look at this. We have techniques. There are 5, or let's say, 5 techniques, or let's say 6 techniques that you need to master when it comes to solving questions in IELTS listening. The first one is what I call signposting words, identifying and listening for signposting words. That's one of the techniques you must master. You must learn how to identify signposting words on the question paper, listen for those signposting words, and use those signposting words to what? To track your answer. Signposting words. That's technique number 1. Technique number 2 is what I call visualization. This particular technique helps when it comes to dealing with map labeling questions. You must be able to use your imagination, use direction markers to follow the narrator and, closely monitor what he's saying and use that word to label the map. Visualization, I'm going to deal with it very soon. Then we have what you call note-taking. You see these 2 techniques here, note-taking and elimination, they are applicable for multiple choice questions and matching questions. We use note-taking technique for solving multiple choice questions. We use note-taking technique for what? We use elimination technique for what? Multiple choice questions. We also use note-taking technique and elimination technique for matching questions. All right. So these are techniques that you need to master. Then we have some other ones. Squashing distractions. What does this mean? Squashing distraction basically means that what? You learn to eliminate distractions when they come. Anytime you practice IELTS listening, there's a tendency to get distracted. Okay? There's a tendency to get distracted. If you don't learn to manage the distractions, if you don't learn how to overcome those distractions, you will not be able to pick the correct answers. You'll be picking the wrong answers. Or sometimes you'll not even be able to pick any answer. It can happen that way, that you will not even hear what the speaker said regarding what the answer should be. So you must learn to deal with what? You must learn to deal with distractions. That's why I call it what? Squash distraction. You must learn to squash distractions. And distractions are of three major types. There are three major types of distractions. Number one is what I call mental distractions. Mental distraction basically means that you are trying to solve a question in IELTS listening, and then something just comes to your mind and you just start thinking about what's it called now? Angela that is owing you money. You now start thinking about Angela that is owing you money. Meanwhile, you are doing IELTS listening or you are practicing IELTS listening, and you are thinking about Angela that is owing you money, that is owing you maybe 200,000 naira. You will pick the wrong answer. That's a mental distraction. You will not hear what the speaker is saying again. So distraction, that's one form of distraction. Another form of distraction is mental distraction also. This one is we can also call it mental anyway. Why? It happens this way that what? Maybe you are solving a question. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me take you to this slide. Look at this place here. Let's say you want to solve this set of questions now. You have solved number one, okay? You have solved number two, you have solved number three, you have solved number four, you have solved number five, and then you are now listening. You want to solve number six. You want to write your answer for number six. And then somehow, you now add that the speaker is now talking about toys. He's talking about toys. He's talking about the equipments that they use to make toys. He now moves on to swimming. And then you're like, the person did not talk about number six. And then you now start thinking about what you heard. You are trying to recall what you heard for number six to try and figure out the answer for number six. Meanwhile, the audio recording is still playing, and the speaker is now talking about number nine, and the speaker has moved to number 10. But instead of paying attention to what the speaker is saying for number 8, number 9, and number 10, you are thinking about number 6 and trying to figure out number 6. That is what I call what? Mental distraction, or distraction of missed question. You missed the question, and then you are thinking about it. Somebody says, what should I do if I miss a question? Forget that question and focus on the one that you have not missed. Focus on the one that the speaker is talking about. That's what you do anytime you miss a question. Okay? So if you miss a question now, just forget about it and focus on this one that the speaker is talking about now. Okay? When the speaker finishes with that section, let's assume it's section 1. When the speaker finishes with that section, there will be a short pause, a short break. You can now use that break to go and look at that question that you missed and try and just do a guesswork for it. Do guesswork for it and forget about it. That's how we deal with what? Distractions of missed questions. Then there's external distractions. External distraction means what? Maybe your children are playing in the sitting room and you are doing IELTS listening in the sitting room. That's not going to work. You'll be distracted. Or maybe the TV is on and you are doing IELTS listening. You'll be distracted. Or maybe your phone rings. A notification entered your phone, and then you took your eyes off your laptop that you're using to practice, and then you're looking at your phone. Meanwhile, the audio recording is playing. That's external distraction. You'll end up picking the wrong answer. So another important technique is what? How to deal with what? Deal with distractions. Now, this thing here is one of the reasons for wrong answers in IELTS listening. There are so many reasons for wrong answers in IELTS listening. One of them is what? Distraction. And you need to always ask yourself, after solving a set of IELTS listening questions, you need to ask yourself regarding the questions that you got wrong, is it that I got distracted? As a matter of fact, anytime I'm practicing IELTS listening, if I get distracted, I'm going to put a star. Let's say maybe I'm solving a set of questions, and let's say maybe for question 5 now, I wasn't sure of the answer. I will just write, let's say I'll write maybe monkey. And then I'll put a star there to indicate that this answer, I'm not sure. I was distracted when I was listening. I was distracted. It will help me to make corrections when I'm practicing subsequently. It helps you to know what went wrong. Anytime you practice, you must always know what went wrong so that you will not repeat those mistakes on the exam day. It's extremely important. And that takes me to the next point, self-correction. After every exercise, after marking your work, take the time to do thorough self-correction. What does it mean to do self-correction? Self-correction means that you go through the questions that you got wrong and learn from your mistakes. This is very, very important. You go through the questions that you got wrong and learn from your mistakes. When it comes to IELTS listening, there are two phases where you can do self-correction. You can do self-correction at the end of section 1. So I solve section 1 questions now. Okay. So like I said, we have section 1. At the end of section 1, there will be a short break. During that period, you can go through all the answers you wrote for section 1 and make necessary corrections before section 2 starts. When section 2 starts, pay attention, answer the questions you can answer. At the end of section 2, there will be a short break. Take some time to go through the answers you wrote for section 2 and make necessary corrections. That's what I mean by that's part of self-correction. That's one aspect of self-correction. Okay, do self-correction at the end of section 1, do self-correction at the end of section 2, do self-correction at the end of section 3, do self-correction at the end of section 4. Do you understand? Then the second level of self-correction is when you now mark your work. After marking your work, take the time to go through the questions that you got wrong. Go through the questions that you got wrong and learn from your mistakes. You understand? Learn from your mistakes. So let's say you got 5 questions wrong. Take the time to go through those 5 questions and ask yourself, what was my mistake? Why did I get this wrong? Go back to the audio recording, go back to the question paper and replay that part of the audio recording that addresses that question and pay close attention to what the speaker says. And ask yourself, why did I miss this word? That's self-correction. Self-correction. And then the last technique is what? Strategic practice. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are taking IELTS anytime soon, within the next 60 to 90 days, okay? If you are taking IELTS test within the next 60 to 90 days, you should be practicing IELTS listening every day. If you don't do any other thing when it comes to IELTS, IELTS listening must not be left undone. You must practice IELTS listening every day. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because this is the only part of IELTS. This is the only part of IELTS that you can literally enjoy doing and still learn as you are doing it. Not everybody enjoys IELTS writing. Not everybody enjoys IELTS, IELTS reading. But majority of people enjoy IELTS listening. People also enjoy IELTS speaking. I've noticed that a number of people enjoy IELTS speaking. But hardly will you see somebody that doesn't enjoy IELTS listening. Hardly. Somebody might say they don't like a particular question type. But then, generally, you will see that people tend to enjoy IELTS listening. So you need to maximize that. Practice every day. Okay? The second reason is that practicing IELTS listening every day helps to build up your vocabulary. It exposes you to different words in English. You are going to see a particular word on the question paper, but then when you are listening to the audio recording, you are going to hear them say it in a different way. That's what we call paraphrasing or synonyms. So when you do a lot of practice, you get familiar with all this vocabulary, all these different paraphrases and synonyms that they use in IELTS. And it helps you to become, it helps your vocabulary to become richer. It enriches your lexical resource. That's another benefit of practicing regularly, practicing every day. The third benefit of practicing every day is that it helps you to become familiar with the accent of the speakers. One of the reasons for wrong answers in IELTS listening is people do not hear these speakers. Some people will say that they talk too fast. By the way, if you do IELTS listening practice and you get a score less than 30, one of your problems is that accent problem. That's one of the problems. If you get less than 30, let's say maybe you get less than 30 often in many of your practices, then one of the problems is going to be what? Accent. The solution is to what? Is to practice more. Do more practices. Get yourself what? Get yourself familiar with what? Get yourself familiar with how these guys talk. Strategic practice. And I want you to notice something that I put here. Practice until you become a pro. Now, who is a pro? Pro is a short form for professional. Okay? Who is a pro? A pro is somebody that scores 32 and above anytime they practice IELTS listening. That is a pro. Anytime they practice IELTS listening, they score 32 and above. That kind of person is a what? Is a pro. Take the time to, if you are not yet at that level, take the time to what? To treat yourself like a beginner, like a fresher. What does that mean? What that means is that anytime you are practicing IELTS listening and you do not hear what they are saying, rewind the audio. Rewind it. You are not yet a pro. A pro is somebody that can pick what they are saying without rewinding. Without rewinding and without replaying, you can pick what they are saying. So if you are not yet a pro, if you are still a fresher, you are still a beginner, please, by all means, feel free to rewind and replay. Someone like you should not be registering for exam yet. If you are scoring 27, 28, 26, 25, 24, out of, let's say maybe you do 10 full listening practices. You do 10 full listening practices. And out of those 10, 4 of them are less than 30. Your score in 4, or your score in 5, or your score in 3 are less than 30. You are not yet a pro. Someone like you should not go and register for exam yet. You still need to practice and get used to what? How these guys talk. You understand? With more practice, your ability to pick what they are saying will improve. It will improve. You understand? Especially if you are taking the time to rewind and replay. Rewind and replay. You understand? And there's a number of practices that you need to do. Like I said, if somebody does IELTS listening practice every day, 2 practices per day, in a month, you will have done 60. In 2 months, you will have done 120. In 3 months, you will have done 180. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that will go a long way in improving your skills. Somebody says, I've been practicing since last month. I've not improved. Continue practicing. If you stop, you will not improve. Can stopping improve you? You will not improve if you stop. So you just continue practicing, continue with that word, that regimen of word, rewinding and making sure you are hearing. That's where the key is. That's where the key is. So every time you practice, you apply all these strategies that I'm talking about. These strategies of what? Using, I'm going to talk about this one very soon. This squashing distraction and self-correction. Apply them consistently. And of course, these ones. Okay? Now let's look at these strategies. Signposting words. So here we have our question. Let me use another question. I'm going to do the map for this one. Let me treat another part 1. So this is Cambridge IELTS 15. I'm going to show you. I'm going to solve some questions from this PDF file, and then I will take you to the website. This same practice test from the website, you're going to see that it's the same thing. It's the same thing, 100%. So this is our question. This is test 3, Cambridge IELTS 15 test 3. So the question says, complete the notes below. Write one word and or a number for each answer. So you have to write one word. You are not allowed to write 2 words. You are not allowed to write 3 words. Okay? It has to be one word inside the gap. And any word you write in the gap must fit in grammatically and contextually. You're going to see what I mean by that later on. So here, before the audio recording starts, in fact, let me play the audio recording now so that you see what I mean. Before the audio recording starts, you are going to hear them say that word. First of all, you have some time to look at question 1 to 4. They will say something like that. And then after saying that, there will now be a short pause. The speaker will now be silent. During that period of silence, your job is to pay close attention and identify signposting words.
This is the IELTS listening test.
How many of you heard that? This is the IELTS listening test. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let me know if you heard that. I want to be sure you guys are hearing the audio recording.
Test 3. This is the IELTS listening test.
Did you hear? This is the IELTS listening test. Let me know if you heard. Just comment in the Zoom chat. Just drop a comment in the Zoom chat. Let me be sure that you are. All right. Thank you very much, Cecilia. All right. Joy, thank you very much. So that's that the audio is about to start. Now, I want you to pay close attention.
You will hear a number of different recordings.
Okay.
And you will have to answer questions on
Based
what
on
you hear.
All right.
There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only.
Okay.
The test is in 4 parts.
4 parts.
At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
Now, let me say something here. You see that thing that you just said now? At the end of the test, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. That thing does not happen in computer-based IELTS. Okay? That's one of the key differences between CBT, IELTS, and paper-based. They will not give you 10 minutes during computer-based to transfer anything. All right? So please keep that in mind. You are not going to be given any 10 minutes to transfer. That 10 minutes for transferring only happens for paper-based IELTS. It only happens for paper-based IELTS. Okay? Now let's go on.
Now turn to part 1.
Now turn to part 1. So this is part 1 on our screen. Okay? Listen.
Part 1.
Okay?
You will hear a woman who works at an employment agency talking to a man about jobs he could apply for.
Okay?
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Can you see that? You have some time to look at questions 1 to 5, and then the guy is silent. You can see he's not talking again. So during that time, my job is to identify signposting words on the question paper. Okay? So what are signposting words? Let me tell you what signposting words are. Signposting words are words on the question paper that the speaker will mention. And once the speaker mentions them, it guides me towards the answer. The speaker will mention those signposting words, and once they mention them, I know that my answer is about to show up. Okay? So signposting words are basically verbs, action words, verbs. For example, here now, number 1, produces. Produces is a verb. Verbs are action words. Produces is a verb. Number 2, let me see. Who can tell me the verb in this sentence here? This sentence that I'm putting my red highlighter on. What is the verb in this sentence? Who can tell me? Anybody? What is the verb in this sentence? I want you to type your answer in the chat box. What is the verb in that sentence? Go to dash and take notes. Who can tell me the verb there? What is the verb in that sentence? What is the verb in that sentence? Anybody? Go to dash and take notes. Thank you. Take notes. Take. What is another word for take notes? Take notes means you write something down. Write notes. Another verb is go. Thank you. Somebody said go. Yes, go is also correct. Go is an action word. So what does that tell me? That tells me that what? Whenever I hear, as I'm listening to the audio recording, once I hear the speaker mention go, that means the speaker will very, very soon also mention what? The word that should be in this gap. You understand? So verbs are signposting words. Adverbs. Adverbs are words that qualify verbs. Okay? I'm looking at this thing now. I can't really see any adverb here for now. All right? So verbs, adverbs, adjectives. Adjectives are also what? Signposting words. Okay? Let me show you an example of an adjective. Look at this thing here. Good. Good is an adjective to qualify what? Interpersonal skills. In fact, good and interpersonal are both adjectives. They qualify skills. Skills is a noun. Good is another adjective. See the adjective again. Qualifies what? Computer skills. So, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, nouns, proper nouns, common nouns. This is an example of a noun. Admin is a noun. Management. Okay, management can be a noun, it can be a verb. Okay, computer is a noun. Okay, which other one now? Teleconferencing is a noun. Then we have proper nouns. For example, North London. North London is the name of a particular area. It's the name of a particular area in London. It's just like saying North Africa, or saying Lagos, or saying what's it called? Accra, Kumasi, Yaoundé. Those are names of cities. You can see it's starting with a capital letter. Any word on IELTS listening or IELTS reading that starts with a capital letter is a proper noun. Signposting. So signposting what the guy does to the answer. So proper nouns. North London is a proper noun. Anytime you see a word in IELTS listening or IELTS reading that is in capital, that is starting with a capital letter, that word is a word, is a proper noun. That word should jump at you. You should pay very close attention to that word. Pay very close attention to that word. Okay? Now, let me continue with the audio and then we'll try and answer these questions. I want you to listen closely. Okay? So we have identified our signposting words here. For number 1, my signposting word is going to be North London and produces. For number 2, go. Take notes. Management is for number 3. Number 4, attention. Okay? Number 5, minimum.
Listen carefully.
Now listen.
And answer questions 1 to 5.
Questions 1 to 5, all right?
Good morning. Thanks for coming in to see us here at the agency, Joe.
Agency.
One of the agency representatives,
Okay.
and my name's Sally Baker.
Hi, Sally. I think we spoke on the phone, didn't we?
That's right, we did. So thank you for sending in your CV. We've had quite a careful look at it, and I think we have 2 jobs that might be suitable for you.
Okay.
The first one is in a company based in North London. They're looking for an administrative assistant.
Okay. What sort of company is it?
They're called Home Solutions, and they design and make furniture.
So, ladies and gentlemen, did you pick the answer for that? The woman has given us the answer for the first one. Did anybody pick the answer for that? What answer did you pick? Anybody? I want you to type out your answer in the chat box. Let me see who was able to pick the answer. Let me see if you were able to pick the answer. What did you pick? The woman used the word design. The woman used the word design. Design something. Thank you. Furniture. That's going to be the word. A company that produces furniture. So our answer to number 1 is going to be what? Can you see that the woman mentioned North London? Okay? The woman mentioned administrative assistants. He said a company in North London. And then the man asked about the company. And then the woman answered what? The company designs furniture. So I'm just going to write what? Furniture inside the gap. Straight away. So there are 2 ways to write your answer. Is either you write your answer as lowercase or you write all caps. Many candidates prefer this second option, all caps. In IELTS listening and IELTS reading, they prefer to write everything in capital. Okay? Either way, you are good to go. Okay? The one that is wrong is when you write in sentence case. This one is wrong. This one cannot fit in here. Why? Because furniture is not a proper noun. Furniture is not a proper noun, so it cannot start with capital F in the middle of a sentence. It's in the middle of a sentence, so you cannot start with capital F. You can only start with capital if it's a proper noun. So this is why this one is wrong. Okay? So this issue of proper noun used to confuse some people. So I just say, okay, well, don't worry yourself. Just write all your answers in what? Write all your answers in capital letter, like what we have here. Capital F, capital U, capital R, capital N-I-T-U-R-E. Everything in capital letter. Okay? So you see the way we've used signposting words. Let's do one more, and then we'll move to another question type. Let's listen closely and answer question 2 and 3.
I don't know much about that, but it sounds interesting.
Yes, well, as I said, they want someone in their office, and looking at your past experience, it does look as if you fit quite a few of the requirements. So on your CV, it appears you've done some data entry?
Yes.
So that's one skill they want. Then they expect the person they appoint to attend meetings and take notes there.
Okay. I've done that before, yes.
And you need to be able...
We have the woman has mentioned the answer to question 2. Who picked the answer? Were you able to pick the answer? What's your answer? For question 2, attend something and take notes. I think she used the word take notes. Attend what? Attend meetings. Thank you. Attend meetings and take notes. Is it meeting without S or meeting with S? It should be meeting with S. Oh, those are spelling mistakes that people make. Please always spell singular and plural words correctly. Meetings, there's S at the end of that meetings. Okay, let's do number 3 and then we'll go to another question.
Filing and keeping records and so on.
General
But that should be okay. And in my last job, I also had to manage the diary.
Excellent. That's something they want here too. I'd suggest you add it to your CV. I don't think you mentioned that, did you?
No.
So, as far as the requirements go, they want good computer skills, of course, and they particularly mention spreadsheets.
So, who was able to pick the answer for number 3? Anybody? It was the guy that mentioned it. And then the lady did not really mention that particular word again. The guy mentioned something. Thank you, diary. Management of diary. Correct. So, you see, managed diary, management. Can you see signposting words? Guiding us to the answer. In IELTS listening, these gap filling questions are the easiest. If you want to get band 9 in your IELTS listening, you must learn to always get gap filling questions correct. Always. You must always get your word. Always get your gap filling questions correct. It's very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. Now let's look at another technique here. We call it what? Note taking and elimination. So what is note taking all about? The idea of note taking is that as the speakers are talking, your job is to what? Is to write down short notes. Write down short notes and points about the different options in a set of multiple choice questions or matching questions. So as the speakers are talking, I'm going to be writing down points about the different things that the speakers are saying. So look at this one here now. For number 11, the question says, when did the street play scheme first take place? Let me ask you a question here based on what I said earlier on. This thing here, street play scheme, what is it? Is it a verb or a proper noun or an adjective? Let me see who remembers what I said earlier on. This thing here, street play scheme, is it a verb, a proper noun, or an adjective? Anybody who wants to tell me? Is it a verb? Please, I want you to take note of my question. No? Is it a verb, a proper noun, or an adjective? What is it? Street play scheme, what is it? Is it a verb, a proper noun, or an adjective? Thank you very much. The answer is proper noun. Those of you writing noun, you are writing the wrong thing. I intentionally said proper noun. I did not say noun. That's why it's very important to pay attention to words. Pay attention to words. Don't just say noun. I know it's noun, but I intentionally said proper noun because there's something I said about proper noun earlier on. I said something about proper noun. And I wanted to be sure that you guys are following me. I said that proper nouns have capital letter at the beginning, capital letter, uppercase. So don't just say noun. I did not say noun when I gave you the options. I said proper noun. Is it a noun, proper noun, or adjective? And the answer is actually what? Proper noun. And how do I know it's a proper noun? Street is capital S, capital P for play, capital S for scheme. These are things that get. So when the speaker start talking, he's going to mention this thing. And then it's going to mention first. First here is an adjective. Adjective of time. And then Take place. This is a verb. So the idea is that what? As they are talking, I'm going to begin to write down notes. You are going to see me do that now. I'm going to type out my notes. I'm going to type it out on this side of the screen, on the right side of the screen. You're going to hear. And then I will now use my notes to pick my answer. Whether you are taking computer-based IELTS or paper-based IELTS, you'll be able to take notes. If it's paper-based IELTS, you're going to be able to write on your question paper. Just write in short form. Brief, short notes. If you are doing computer-based, you'll be able to type somewhere on the computer screen. You'll be able, there's a place on the screen where you can select notes, and then you can type notes on the computer screen. It's allowed. For some exam centers, they might even give you question paper to write things down. But I will advise you don't use that paper. It's going to waste your time. If you are doing computer-based, don't use paper to write down notes. It's better to train yourself to type. Okay, so let me play the audio, and then we're gonna answer this number 11, 12, and 13. So this is Cambridge IELTS 15 Test 3, Audio 2. Okay, play the audio now.
Part 2.
Okay.
You will hear a woman called Alice Riches talking on the radio about a scheme which involves closing streets to traffic to allow children to play.
Okay.
First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16.
11 to 16. So you see what happens during that time. My job is to quickly identify signposting words. For me, yeah, signposting words is takes place. First take place, 236. Then Beechwood Road, close to traffic now. How often? How often? Once a week, Saturdays and Sundays, once a month, okay? Who is responsible for closing the road? Council official, police, local wardens, okay? I'm identifying signposting words. That's what I'm doing. Number 14, residents who wants to use their car have to park in another street, drive slowly, permission, wording, okay? Number 15, most needed in wealthy areas, quiet suburban areas, heavy traffic, okay? All right?
Now listen carefully
Now, the audio is
and
about to
answer
start.
questions 11 to 16.
Okay?
My guest on the show today is Alice Riches, who
Okay.
started the Street Play scheme where she lives in Beechwood Road.
Okay.
For those of you that don't already know, Street Play involves local residents closing off their street for a few hours so that children have a chance to play in the streets safely. She started it in her own street, Beechwood Road, and the idea caught on. And there are now Street Play schemes all over the city. So when did you actually start the scheme, Alice?
Well, I first had the idea when my oldest child was still a toddler. So that's about 6 years ago now. But it took at least 2 years of campaigning before we were actually able to make it happen. So the scheme's been up and running for 3 years now. We'd love to be able to close our road for longer, for the whole weekend, from Saturday morning until Sunday evening, for example.
Can you see my
And
notes?
is
You see the way I was typing down the notes as she was talking? That's what I call note taking. As she was talking, you see that practically she mentioned everything in the option. 6. You can see there's 6 in the option. But the answer is not 6. Okay? She mentioned 2. 2 years to campaign. The answer is not 2. And then she now said what? The thing got up and running for 3 years now. That means the answer is 3 years ago. Option B. Our answer is going to be what? Option B. How many of you picked option B? Let me see. How many of you wrote option B in the answer in the Zoom chat? Thank you. Option B. The answer should be option B. So let me say something about multiple choice questions. Some of those options are what? They are designed to trick you. You can see that they will mention everything. They will mention, or let's put it this way. The speakers will mention something in all the options. Just like you can see here now, 6, 2, 3. The speaker mentions something in all the options. You're going to see the same thing will happen in this number 12 too. They will mention something in all the options. You need to pay close attention to pick exactly what does it say about each of the options. This is another reason for wrong answers in IELTS listening. Some people just pick answer because the speaker mentioned it now. The speaker mentioned 6. Why did I pick 6? What the speaker said about 6 is that she got the idea 6 years ago. She did not say that she started the street play scheme 6 years ago. So you need to ask yourself, exactly what does the speaker say? Don't just say that you pick one option because the speaker mentioned it or mentioned something there. No, don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into that trap. I hope you guys are following me. Let me know if you are still with me. Let me be sure you guys are following me. If you are still with me, let me see your message. Let me know who is following me. I want you to drop a message and say, yes, yes, I am with you. Yes, I am with you. Yes, I am with you. All right. Thank you very much. So let's try. So you see the way I've written down my notes. This is how, whenever I practice, I can't be using paper to take notes. I type. In fact, I really don't even use note taking nowadays because my skill has improved to a point where I can eliminate options as they are talking. And that's the level you get to as you do lots of listening practices. You get to a point where you can use this second method called elimination method. Your eyes move up and down the options to eliminate the wrong options as the speaker is talking. That's what we call elimination. That one does not need any notes. You as the speaker is talking, you just eliminate the options. What does it say about what happened 6 years ago? The speaker will say something about it. What happened 2 years ago? The speaker will say something about it. What happened 3 years ago? So you are looking for the one where it says that word. That was when it first took place. Okay? Let's play the audio and try and answer number 12. Let me play the audio.
Just once a week. But when we start...
So listen closely. Let me rewind it.
Running for 3 years now.
Okay.
We'd love to be able to close our road for longer, for the whole weekend, from Saturday morning until Sunday evening, for example. At the moment, it's just once a week. But when we started, it was only once a month. But we're working on it.
So what actually happens when Beechwood Road is closed?
So, ladies and gentlemen, this one is very easy and straightforward. That was the first thing she mentioned. She mentioned the answer to number 12 the first time. I mean, hey, at the moment is a paraphrase for what? Let me ask the question. At the moment is a paraphrase for what in this question? What is the paraphrase for at the moment? This is vocabulary. Can you see vocabulary here? Paraphrasing. Thank you very much. Now, these are things you learn as you are practicing IELTS listening. One of the reasons, you see I'm giving you lots of reasons for wrong answers. I hope somebody's writing down all of these reasons. Another reason for wrong answers is paraphrasing. Some people end up picking wrong answers because they were not able to pick the paraphrase. They were not able to pick the paraphrase. The woman said at the moment is once a week. She now said when we started, it was once a month. She did not even mention, I don't think she mentioned Saturday and Sunday at all. So that's how you pay close attention. You use the signposting words close to traffic in the question and in the option to what? To track your answer. To track your answer. That's how you deal with what? Multiple choice questions. Now, the other question type, let me jump to matching questions. Matching questions. Look at matching questions here. Okay, so this is test 4 of the same Cambridge IELTS listening test. This is test 4, and our job is to match the topic to the correct person who is going to do research into which topic. Write the correct letter A, B, or C. So let me play the audio. This is test 4. Audio 4. Sorry, audio 3.
Part 3.
Okay.
You will hear 2 students, called Hazel and Tom, talking about Hazel's media studies assignment.
Oh, no. This is
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Part 3.
Okay.
You will hear two students of social history called Annie and Jack
Annie and
discussing
Jack.
their
Okay.
presentation about refrigeration.
Refrigeration. Very good.
First,
So
you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24.
21 to 24. That's not what we are concerned with. We are concerned with 25
Before
to
you
30.
hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30.
25 to 30. So what are my keywords here? What are my signposting words here? My signposting words, that period of silence, I should use it to identify my signposting words. Goods that are refrigerated. Effects on health. Health, effects, impact, food producers. So health, food producers, cities, transport, domestic. Goods, health, food producers, cities, transport, domestic. Those are my signposting words.
And answer questions 25 to 30.
25 to 30. This one, as they are answering, we're going
Let's
to
make a list of topics to cover in our presentation and decide who's going to do more research on them.
All right.
Then later we can get together and plan the next step.
Okay. How about starting with how useful refrigeration is and the range of goods that are refrigerated nowadays?
Goods.
Because, of course, it's not just food and drinks.
Okay.
No, I suppose flowers and medicines are refrigerated too.
Yes.
Computers? I could do that, unless you particularly want to.
No, that's fine by me.
Good. So what is our answer? Ladies and gentlemen, what's the answer to number 25? Number 25, who's going to do the research? Who's going to do the research? The lady said, I could do that. Unless you particularly want. The guy now said, oh, that's fine by me. That means the guy is agreeing that, okay, well, Annie should do it. So the answer to number 25 is going to be what? Is going to be A. So I'll just write what? A as my answer. I'll just write A as my answer. Okay, let's go on.
What about the effects of refrigeration on people's health? After all, some of the chemicals used in the 19th century were pretty harmful, but there have been lots of benefits too, like always having access to fresh food. Do you fancy dealing with that?
I'm not terribly keen, to be honest.
Nor me. My mind just goes blank when I read anything about chemicals.
Oh, all right then. I'll do you a favour. But you owe me, Jack. Okay.
So who's going to do number 26? This number 26 is very interesting. The two of them didn't want to do it, but then the lady now said, okay, I'll do it. You now said you owe me a favor. That means she's agreeing that she would do it. So number 26 should also be A. Handy is going to do the research on the effects on health. Okay, let's do one more.
What's the effects on food producers?
Food
Like
producers.
farmers in poorer countries being able to export their produce to developed countries. Something for you, maybe?
I don't mind. It should be quite interesting.
I think we should also look at how refrigeration has helped whole cities.
Okay.
Like Las Vegas.
They've answered number 27. Oh. Who picked the answer? Let me rewind a little bit.
We should also look at how refrigeration able to export their produce to developed countries. Something for you, maybe?
I don't mind. It should be quite interesting.
I think we
Something for you, maybe. And then the guy said, I don't mind. So what is the meaning of I don't mind? I don't mind means I agree. Do you understand? So our answer to number 27 is going to be what? Number 27 is going to be B. The girl said something for you, maybe. And the guy said, okay, I don't mind. So that makes number 27 B. All right?
should also look at how refrigeration has helped whole cities.
Whole cities,
Like
impact on
Las
cities.
Vegas, which couldn't exist without refrigeration because it's in the middle of a desert.
Right. I had a quick look at an economics book in the library that's got a chapter about this sort of thing. I could give you the title if you want to do this section.
Not particularly, to be honest. I find economics books pretty heavy going as a rule.
Okay, leave it to me then.
So who's going to do number 28? Number 28, what's the answer? Can you see matching heading questions? I'm sorry, matching questions. So that's how, as they are talking, you are paying close attention and you are picking the answer. Matching questions. Focused. This one looks, very, very straightforward. Okay? Then the final question type that I want to treat before we round up and then drop our assignments is what we call map labeling question. Now, this is in Nigeria, there's something that we'll call, there's one word that we use in Nigeria, we call it Jagaban. Jagaban. This is the Jagaban of IELTS listening. like the most challenging part of IELTS listening for some people. Map labeling question. So what are we to do here? Your job is to label the different parts of the map. That's what we are doing. Your job is to do what? Your job is to label the different parts of the map based on what the speakers say. Again, we are to use signposting words. What are the signposting words to use here? Your signposting words are the different parts of the map that have been labeled. Okay? For map labeling questions, signposting words to use are the different parts of the map that have been labeled already. So you can see South Gate has been labeled, North Gate has been labeled, Adventure Playground, Glass Houses, Lake, Old Museum. Now, there are some things on this map that have not been labeled, but you should be able to identify them. I want you guys to try. Let me see who can try. I want you to tell me one thing on this map that is not labeled, but you can tell me that this thing, that is it. Let me see. Anybody? There are two things I'm looking at on this map now that are not labeled. In other words, they did not write something. But looking at this map, you can tell me what it is. Anybody, any adult, let me put it that way. Anybody who has gone through, what's it called? Secondary school should be able to tell me what those things are. Thank you very much. Somebody said trees. Correct. They did not write trees here. But you know that this is a tree. These are trees. All this thing where I'm putting my red, what's it called? My red, whatever. They are trees. They are trees. You can see another trees here at the bottom here. And two more trees here at the bottom here. So trees have not been labeled, but the drawing shows us that what these are trees. Another thing that is not labeled is the road. This thing here is a road. You see this place from the South Gate into the park. And then it goes up and then it curves around. It's a road. They did not label it, but you know it's a road. Now look at this one here that goes to a, we will not call this one a road. We will call it a footpath. Why am I calling it a footpath? Because it is not as big as the road. That's how we know. Okay? The road is bigger. Is wide. Let's use the word wide. Wider. The road is wider than the footpath. That's how they usually do maps. Okay? So let me play the audio recording for this setup. So before I play the audio, let me say one more thing. You identify the words, the labeled parts, as well as the part that have not been labeled, but then you can easily pick them out. And then you must also learn how to use direction markers. Okay? Let me give you examples of direction markers. Direction markers are words that tell you where to look at. They are words that the speakers will use that tell you that look in this direction. Look in this direction. Okay, so you have words like to the left, to the right, above, below, next to, across the road, beside. Okay, these are just examples. There are many of them, but these are the ones that are coming to mind now. Direction markers. So if the examiner, if the narrator says across the road, that tells me that, okay, I should look across the road. If the examiner says to the left, that means I should look towards the left. Now look at this thing here, everybody. This is G here. This thing I'm pointing at is G. Okay? I want you guys to tell me, or let me not use G. Let me use Old Museum. Old Museum. I want you guys to look at Old Museum. Okay? Old Museum. What is to the left of Old Museum? Is it A or E? What is to the left Something is to the left of Old Museum. Is it A or E? Let me see. Let me see who understands what I mean by to the left. To the left. Thank you very much. Is A? A is to the left of Old Museum. Correct. That's very, very correct. At the same time, I can say that A is on the western side of the Old Museum. A is on the what? On the western side of the Old Museum. If you look at this map closely, you're going to see that on the right side of this drawing, they put something here for us. This cardinal point drawing. North, south, east, west. Sometimes they will put this on the map. Sometimes they will not put it. If they don't put it, just draw it yourself or just imagine it yourself. Do you understand? It helps you when it comes to solving questions because sometimes the speakers will use the word north, south, east, west. Sometimes they will not say left. Sometimes they will not say right. Sometimes they will be saying west. So the alternative for left is west. The alternative for right is what? East. The alternative for above is north. And the alternative for below is what? South. So if they use these words, north, south, east, west, you should know the direction to look at. Okay? Now let me play the audio and then we're going to answer the questions. We're going to solve everything for this particular question. I think this is test 4, okay? Test 4, audio number 2.
Part 2.
Okay?
You will hear the chair of a committee on park facilities addressing her local town council about changes that have been made to the park. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16.
11 to 6. So during that time that they say you have some time to look at question 11 to 6, what are we to do? Our job is to identify the labeled parts. Identify the signposting words. What are the signposting words? The labeled parts, okay? And study them. Know where they are on the map, okay? The speaker will most likely start from one of the labeled parts. Is it that will start from the south gate or from the north gate? Most likely. They will usually start from a labeled part.
Now listen carefully
Now listen.
and answer questions 11 to 16.
Okay.
As chair of the Town Council Subcommittee on Park Facilities,
Okay.
I'd like to bring you up to date on some of the changes that have been made recently to the Croft Valley Park.
Okay.
So if you could just take a look at the map I handed out, let's begin with a general overview.
General overview.
So, the basic arrangement of the park hasn't changed.
Okay.
It still has 2 gates,
Two
north,
gates.
south,
Can you see?
and a lake in the middle.
A lake. Can you see it's
The
mentioning them?
cafe continues to serve an assortment of drinks and snacks.
Number 11 now.
And is still in the same place, looking out over the lake and next to the old museum.
So what is our answer to number 11, everybody? Looking out over the lake. Looking out is a word. Is a direction marker. And then you now use another word. Next to the something. Let me not mention that word. What is the answer to number 11? Who picked the answer? Thank you. The answer is option D. D for drama. Option D. Our answer to number 11 is going to be D. Next to, can you see that? Next to the old museum. That's the answer for number 11, D. Let's go on.
We're hoping to change the location of the toilets and bring them nearer to the centre of the park.
Okay.
As they're a bit out of the way at present, near the adventure playground.
Can you see? They are a bit out of the way at the present near the adventure playground. That's where they are presently. But he says they want to bring them to another place. So the question now is, what is going to be my answer? Let me rewind this audio a little bit and then, so that you will not get confused. Let's rewind.
And next to the old museum.
Okay.
We're hoping to change the location of the toilets and bring them nearer to the centre of the park, as they're a bit out of the way at present, near the adventure playground, in the corner of your map. The form
formal gardens have been replanted and should be...
So what is our answer to number 12? Where is the toilet? Where are the toilets located? Anybody? Where are the toilets located? Somebody said C. Why is it not B? Why is it not B? You can tell me, why is it not B? Why is it not B? Why is it not B? Why not option B? Anybody? Thank you. He said by the corner. B is not corner. C is the corner. C is corner. You understand? This one is not a corner. There are 4 corners here. This is corner 1. This is corner 2. This is corner 3. And this is corner 4. The only corner where you have something that is not whatever labeled is what? C. So our answer is going to be C. The answer cannot be E. Somebody say, what of this place? This place is also a corner now. No, it's not E. Even if E looks like a corner, the answer is not E. Why? Because the woman said, by the adventure playground. C is closer to the adventure playground than E. You understand? So, I mean, E cannot be the answer. All right, let's go on. Formal gardens now.
At their best in a month or two. In the corner of your map. The formal gardens have been replanted and should be at their best in a month or two. They used to be behind the old museum, but we've now used the space near the south gate, between the park boundary and the path that goes past the lake towards the old museum.
So what is our answer for formal gardens, everybody? What is the answer for formal gardens? Between the south gate and the something. This one is very straightforward. You see map labeling. Thank you very much. The answer is G. Once you are able to identify the labeled parts and you follow this issue of direction markers, you see, for this one, I should use the word between. Those are things that will guide you and let you know where to look at on the map. Let's do the last one, number 14.
With the new outdoor gym for adults and children,
okay,
which is already proving very popular.
Okay.
It's by the glass houses, just to the right of the path from the south gate. You have to look for it, as it's a bit hidden in the trees.
Can you see? It's a bit hidden in the trees. That points at what? That points at option H. It can't be F because F is not between trees. H is the only thing that is between trees. So you see, map labeling questions. This is what it scares a lot of people, but it shouldn't scare you. If you have followed what I've taught in this class, map labeling questions should not scare you again. In fact, anytime you see map labeling questions, you should be dancing and rejoicing that, oh yeah, oh, I must get everything right. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up on that note. What's it called? IELTS listening. You see, I've dealt with all the different question types. I've talked about all the strategies and techniques, okay? And I've emphasized the importance of what? Strategic regular practice. Please, I want you to put all these things to practice because they will help you to really, really master this thing called IELTS listening. Okay? So, any question? Is there any question? Does anybody have any question about what I've talked about so far? Any question, any question, any question about what I've discussed so far? Does anybody have any question? Let me see if I can take 1 or 2 questions and then we'll round up.